Welcome back to part 15 now of the Sunshine Kisses and Fairy Wishes crochet along. This part is called Stepping Stones and was contributed by the lovely Lorraine. Row 1 begins on the wrong side, so make sure you've got your work flipped, and then I need you to join in the first stitch either with a knot, chain 1 and a single crochet, or a standing single crochet, which is what I'm doing, into that first stitch, or you may have a standing stitch if you're continuing your yarn. All we're doing for this row is plain single crochet. Then when you get to the end, make just this all single crochet, make a chain 1 at the other end and turn and make another row of single crochet. So I don't think you need me to show you that one. Just be always mindful and ever vigilant of your tension and of making sure you get the first and last stitch as you go up, backwards and forwards. So I'll leave you to that. At the end of row 2, your second row of single crochet, if you're following the pattern, you'll be fastening off and securing ends, and then make sure to turn. If you're continuing your yarn, I'll let you know when we get to row 3 what chaining you need to do, but just let me get my single crochet done and I'll be back. Sped spot. How's that? That's one down, one more of these to go. Back soon. So at the end of row 2, this is what you should have: 2 rows of single crochet, one that went down that way and this one that's come back along this way and finishes here. So you fasten off and secure your ends. If you wish to continue your colour for row 3, you need to chain 2 and turn. So for row 3, I'm going to make a standing double crochet. So yarn over into that first stitch, hold my loops, pull through 2 times, and that's my standing double crochet. Now I need to chain 1, and we're going to skip a stitch, which is that one right there, you can see it, and the repeat begins immediately. 2 double crochet cluster in each of the next 2 stitches, chain 1 and skip a stitch. So 2 double crochet cluster after we've skipped a stitch is 2 incomplete double crochet, just like any cluster. This is a 2 double crochet cluster, so there they are, 1 there and 1 there, and that leaves you 3 loops on your hook because of the original loop. Yarn over, pull through 3, and then 1 in the next one as well. 2 double crochet cluster, close, pull through 3, chain 1 and skip a stitch. So that's the whole repeat. 2 double crochet cluster in each of the next 2, chain 1 and skip a stitch. Very easy repeat all the way down. And then remembering that the repeat finishes with a chain 1, I'll do one more, skip a stitch, 2 double crochet cluster, in each of the next 2. Oh, fumble, 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 like that. Chain 1, skip a stitch and another cluster. So you'll go all the way down and your final cluster will finish here, and then you still skip a stitch. The repeat ends with a chain 1, skip a stitch. So that will be here. So your cluster, your 2 clusters will go 1 in there, 1 in there. You'll chain 1, you'll skip that stitch, and we'll make a double crochet in the very last stitch. So I'll meet you here and we'll just finish up and turn together. So at the end of the row, there's my last 2 sets of 2 double crochet clusters. There's my chain 1 there. There's my skipped stitch. That leaves me 1 stitch to put a double crochet into. Now if you're following the pattern, we now fasten off and secure your ends. If you're continuing, I just checked ahead, you only need a chain 1 and a turn. Alright, so, but I'm going to fasten off. I'm just going to make a knot and fasten off. Now 2 things to pay attention to. One is, make sure you've only got a chain between the groups, not inside the groups. There is no chain 1 in between these. There's only a chain 1 on either side of them. That's important for it to stay bunched up together to get the effect that we're aiming for. The other thing is to make sure you have a skipped stitch, and a visual check will tell you. There it is, there it is, there. It's really easy to see, especially from the reverse. If you reverse it, you can see your stitch loops, your skip loops really clearly. We need those. We're going to work into those in the next round. So stop every so often and check that you're on the right track. When you're finished, either fasten off or chain one and turn, and then we will continue now and start building our stepping stones on this side, okay, into these skipped stitches. Get yourselves organized and we'll be back with row 4. Row 4, as I said, you either needed a turning chain and then a single crochet in the first stitch. I will make a standing single crochet with my new color into that first stitch like that, which is that double crochet there. Now we have starting the repeat immediately, and it says working in front of the chain space, make 1 treble crochet into the skipped single crochet from row 2. That's that stitch there. There's my chain right there. Treble crochet 2 yarn overs. So what it's telling us is that we're not going to enclose this stitch, we're going to work in front of it. So just hold the stitch like this. I like to put my finger under it and slide my hook under that stitch, and then make my treble crochet like that. So it's not attached to that chain, it's sitting in front. Okay. Now we're going to make a single crochet in each of the next two double crochet clusters. So these each get 1 single crochet. Nowhere else. You don't work into the chain space. We are working into the top of those 2 cluster stitches immediately after the treble crochet. Again, treble crochet into the skipped stitch below. There's any number of ways you can just poke it through and then hook it back and make your treble. 1, 2, and oop. You can drop all your stitches as well. There you go. That's the treble. And then immediately 1 single crochet in the top of each of these. Now there's my top loops. They're the loops from the chain. So I'm hoping you've remembered that. Okay, 1 single crochet in the first one, 1 single crochet in the second one. And again, treble down to that skipped single crochet below, 2 and 3, and 1 single crochet there, and 1 single crochet there. And we are building our stepping stones, just like in the garden. So we'll go all the way down and make a final treble crochet into this final skipped stitch. And then the last thing we're going to do is put a single crochet into that last stitch, which is the double crochet down this end. Alright, so that's pretty easy repeat. Treble crochet into the skipped stitch, working in front of and not enclosing. Here's my chain space, I can get under it. It should not be enclosed, because all that will do is that will pinch your work, and you don't want that. Alright, so don't enclose the chain space, you're working in front of it. Easy. So treble crochet in the skipped stitch, 1 single crochet in each of these clusters, and start again. Treble crochet and skipped stitch, 1 single crochet in each cluster, all the way to the end. I'll meet you down here and we'll work out what's happening next. At the other end, here we are. For those of you following the pattern exactly, your repeats would finish here. Your 71 times finishes here. And then we have to do 1 final front post treble in that last skip stitch, as I mentioned earlier. I think I need to twist the work a bit because I'm at a very poor angle here. There we go. 1 final treble crochet, however you like to say it, and the finishing off with a single in that final double crochet at the end, like that. Now we're continuing the colour according to the pattern, so we're going to do a chain 1 and we're going to turn, But first let's just take a look. Now there might be a little bit of a wobble. There's a lot of stitch work going in here. Your single crochet return row should tighten that up, but please be mindful of that. You don't want it too wobbly. Also just go down the line, especially when you're making a full-size blanket, make sure you haven't missed any of these. It'll be really obvious when you put it on a bed. Might not be obvious up close. So just take a minute, lay it out and make sure you haven't missed any. And also double check that you've put 2 single crochet, 1 in each cluster all the way down, so your stitch count doesn't go out of whack. Okay, chain 1 at the end and turn, and I'll be back soon. Having turned, I have turned, I hope you've turned as well. Make sure you're on the wrong side again. We are just going to make a single crochet in the first stitch as usual. After that, chain 1 and turn, and single crochet all the way down. So this is row 5. I need a second row of single crochet for row 6. So at the end of row 5 you chain 1 and turn and come back down the line again with straight single crochet and nothing else. Then we're going to repeat this. We are going to repeat row 3 and row 4, which is our treble stitches. But let me just get you there and we'll talk through what you have to do to finish up. First let's get 2 rows of single crochet done. Row 5 down the line, row 6 back along the front, and we'll meet up then. Now we've finished row 6, so these 2 rows here are 2 rows of single crochet. The second one was made from the front, okay, and that's fine, that's where we finish. Then if you're continuing your yarn, you're going to have to chain 2 and turn. But for the rest of us who are using contrasting colours, we fasten off and secure your ends like I have here, and then you must turn. Everybody, in fact, must turn. Everybody must turn. So now what I need you to do is do a repeat of row 3, and this one is worked from the wrong side, and then you will turn over again. You will change your colour again to make the treble crochet stitches. So just roll back to row 4 and re-watch row 4. I'm going to let you do that on your own because we've already done one set and you can roll back. Then when you're finished, I'll come back. For those of you following the pattern, you do not need to fasten off your yarn yet. We will turn and make one final row of single crochet. But I'll join you for that and get you started on that, and just to make sure that all of this has worked neatly for you. Okay, I'll be back for row 8. Meanwhile, you guys repeat row 3 and 4 for rows 7 and 8. See you soon. Here I am at the end of row 8. So I've put in a second set of stepping stones, this one and this one. I did use a different colour because I'm stash busting here. I'm using up all my teeny weeny little scraps of yarn. So these are 2 different colours. And at the end of row 8, which is the repeat of row 4, you just need to chain 1 and turn because we're going to finish off now. And we are going to make one final row. I've got a lot of tails to work away, guys. One final row of single crochet starting in the very first stitch to finish off the section. Then you need to put on your across the miles as normal. Luckily this row, if you're continuing your yarn, this row will take you back to the right side when you finish it and turn, because you always have to put your across the miles on from the front. Okay, I'll just finish my row 2 as in also and then we'll reconvene for part 16, having put on our across the miles. I'll just flip this over when I'm done just to give you a quick shot of what it should look like finished, just like the photo does. But this last row, row 9, is made from the reverse side. Don't forget that. Okay, it's looking so far like that, perfectly framed, so you've got the nice borders around your stepping stones. And that was Lorraine's beautiful section, part 15. Bye for now.